Hello and welcome to another episode of the Wrestling Review Podcast, where each episode we take a look back at another classic episode of WWF Monday Night Raw. This week we are looking back at episode 18, which aired on May the 24th, 1993, once again from the Manhattan Center in New York. It aired on the 24th, but was in fact recorded on May the 17th. Our commentators again, Vince McMahon, Randy Savage and Bobby the Brain. We get the sirens starting as Vince welcomes us to the show. He announces that we will be hearing from Razor Ramon later on, and that also we're going to see Crush in action, as well as Money Inc., and we're going to see the debut of a new wrestler. We're going to see Mr. Bomb. Apparently that's Adam Bomb, but Vince does refer to him as Mr. Bomb. The siren's still going throughout them talking. It's so loud and annoying as they're trying to talk. It makes it really hard to hear what they're saying. I've said it before, I'm really not a fan of that siren. We got rid of, I've forgotten his name now. He's that forgettable. The commentator that I really didn't like. We've got rid of him, so now let's get rid of this siren as well. Vince also mentions that we're going to get a Doink the Clown versus Mr. Perfect match in a King of the Ring qualifier. Bobby puts his glasses on and says that he's getting ready for double vision as Crush's music hits and out he comes to the ring. As he comes out, he crawls straight under the ring, having a look under there. Vince tells us that Lord Alfred is outside the arena and has demanded to be on air. So we go back outside, we see Lord Alfred. He says that he saw who came into the ring, but look who stood here with him. Doink says that he isn't stood here, it's all an illusion, and then he squirts Alfred with some water and walks off while we go back inside, and Vince and Randy can't believe it's an illusion. The ref checks under the ring, and out comes Doink. Mr. Perfect comes out to the ring and tosses his gum at Doink, but Doink attacks as soon as he gets in the ring and chokes Perfect with his towel, tosses him across the ring. Doink wastes some time playing around with the towel as Perfect hits Doink with some right hands to the stomach. Mr. Perfect gets the towel back, sends Doink into the ropes and hits a clothesline with the towel. The ref seems okay with that apparently, and lets it all go. Mr. Perfect takes over and hits a chop before they trade right hands. Mr. Perfect takes Doink down and drops a knee on Doink's leg. Going to work on the leg of Doink now. Perfect wraps Doink's leg around the ring post as we go to an advert break. When we come back, we see Doink begging off in the corner. Perfect stomps on Doink some in the corner. Doink starts selling the leg even as he's back on offense and hits some chops and kicks in the corner before throwing Mr. Perfect out of the ring and coming out onto the apron, sending Perfect headfirst into the ring post. Doink gets back in the ring and he brings Perfect up on the apron while he beats across Perfect's chest. Doink with a fireman's carry takedown and Perfect gets a head scissors locked in. Doink stamps on Mr. Perfect's head and Doink continues selling the leg that Mr. Perfect was working over. It's really good selling from Doink, to be honest. I'm really actually quite impressed with Doink the Clown. Obviously was aware of him, knew of Doink, but kind of the joke Doink, not this early Doink, and getting to watch him here, really impressed with Doink. He's selling the leg and he looks at the camera looking very angry and mad. We get some good chain wrestling from the two, with Doink holding onto Mr. Perfect's arm, but Mr. Perfect gets out, goes back to work on the leg of Doink. We get a figure four, but a modified version from Mr. Perfect, and Doink's shoulders are down as he tries to kick out. Perfect slaps him. Doink and Mr. Perfect fight to the outside, and Doink sends Mr. Perfect shoulder first into the ring post as Vince begs the ref to disqualify him right now. Just seems to be letting quite a bit go, this referee. They fight onto the floor and then Doink wraps Mr. Perfect's arm around the post. Doink then slams Mr. Perfect with his arm behind his back, and Randy and Vince talk about how good Doink is as he goes for a cover and gets a 2 before we go to another break. We come back and we see both men trading blows before Mr. Perfect hits a clothesline. Doink goes to hit his own, but Mr. Perfect ducks and hits one of his own that sends Doink to the outside. At this point, we see another Doink run down to the ring and slide underneath. The real Doink rolls around under the ring from the other side, and when one comes out, we're not sure if it's the real one or not. They do quite a good job at this point of not showing his face until they do, and then Vince, to his credit, immediately points out that the face paint is different and that this must be a different Doink. The ref doesn't seem to notice though, and Mr. Perfect hits the Perfect Plex and gets a win. but then the two Doinks both attack Mr. Perfect after the bell. Mr. Perfect was made to look a bit silly there, I think, in that he didn't realise it was a different Doink, but then Doink was made to look a little bit silly because he switched places, got hit with the Perfect Plex and still just lost the match. So after the bell, Bobby says that Mr. Perfect didn't win because he beat the wrong Doink. Crush comes in to beat up on both Doinks, and after a beating they head to the back, but Mr. Perfect's the winner and he'll be heading to King of the Ring. At this point we go to Mean Gene for a King of the Ring report, and Vince says that Hulk will be a part of it. Well, good, because he hasn't been a part of anything since WrestleMania. Mean Gene mentions Mr. Perfect winning and says that the qualifying then is now complete. So the number one seed, which I'm not really sure what difference this seeding makes, but the number one seed, Bret Hart, will meet Razor Ramon. Hacksaw Jim Duggan will face off with Bam Bam. Tatanka will face Lex Luger, and Mr. Hughes is going to square off against Mr. Perfect. Gene says that there will be an actual coronation at the end of this. Gene then mentions that Hulk Hogan will make his first title defence against Yokozuna, and we'll hear from Hulk. Hulk says that it's great to be back in New York on Monday Night Raw, where he rules as 5-time WWF champion. Hulk says that he saw Hulkamaniacs posing and lining up outside the studio all while flexing, but to be honest, Hulk looks a lot slimmer than he used to. Hulk says Monday Night Raw has a special meaning for him and Jimmy. Jimmy Hart then says that that's right, because it was here on Monday Night Raw that he became a Hulkamaniac. Hulk says that he's sick of going around the country and hearing people say maybe it was a fluke. Why didn't he slam the big man? He points out that his arms are still the largest in the world. He talks about his massive triceps, delts and pecs. Someone's maybe a little insecure, Hulk. He's protesting a little too much. Hulk mentions for about the 10th time that he's here on Monday Night Raw. He does his what you gonna do when the power of 5 commandments and Hulk runs wild on you. We go back to Gene and he says with less than 3 weeks to go, we can order the pay-per-view. Gene says when we come back we will see Money Inc. in action. It was a typical Hulk Hogan promo there. I didn't like the fact that he was hyping it up as though he was actually there on Monday Night Raw. It was a pre-taped interview from who knows when. I don't know. I mean, Bret as champion, we didn't see a lot of him on Raw, but he did make an appearance or two. Like, Hulk won the title from Yokozuna, and we haven't heard anything from him since. You know, this is his first appearance. There's been no even in-ring segments, nothing. I know it's a different time. I say Bret, we didn't see a lot of. Yoko, we didn't see a lot of. Leading up to his match with Bret. But, yeah, I think it's just because it's Hulk. It just annoys me a bit more. Anyway, our next match is Money Inc. versus Mike Bell and Tony DeVito. Before the match starts, Ted DiBiase gets the mic and says that everybody has a price, especially the New Yorkers. He says that he has $100 here, and at anyone that he and Irwin need a shoe shine, and he offers someone to come out into the ring and shine their shoes. Ted and Irwin pick someone out of the ring to come in. As they do, Bobby says that the little girl is going to shine their shoes. Vince says that it's actually a young man, and Bobby questions that as they have a ponytail. Whoever it is shines Irwin's shoes and then Ted's. Irwin says that it's an earned income, they have to pay taxes, so he hands the fan $30. We then get an Ico Pro advert with Tatanka and the new WWF figures advert. Just as a side note there, I had that ring and a couple of the figures. It was, quite cool to see that. We're back in the arena and Ted starts off against Mike Bell. We get a shoulder block from Ted, takes Mike down, and then Ted drives his head into the mat. IRS with an elbow off the top and Irwin chant starts. Mike tags out and in comes DeVito as the Irwin chant picks up some steam. Vince drops into commentary that at King of the Ring, Money Inc. will be in an 8-man tag team action as they will team with the Head Shrinkers against the Smoking Guns and the Steiner Brothers. I am very pleased to hear that the Steiner Brothers will be making another appearance. We haven't seen them since WrestleMania. We get a clothesline from Ted and he takes Tony to the outside. Ted goes out after him, throws him straight back in though. Irwin comes back in as Vince and Bobby talk about Razor making an announcement later and says that he lost to someone who has never won and we are now calling him the 1-2-3 Kid. That's slightly better, I suppose, than the Cannonball Kid. Ted gets a suplex, gets a 2 count, double underhook suplex from IRS, and a flying clothesline gets the win for Money Inc. We now have the WWF Mania promo with Todd. We're told that this week it will be Owen Hart versus Mr. Hughes. Randy wishes Owen well in his return match. After the break, we're going to have Crush in action. So the third match when we come back from the break is going to be Crush versus Bobby Who. That's right, Bobby Who. I think we can all imagine where this joke is going to go. We get a lock-up. Bobby Who gets a full Nelson in, but Crush powers out. Another lock-up, and they seem to be going at half speed here. A spin kick from Crush and a stalling suplex followed by a leg drop. They go to the outside with Crush leaping over the top rope to the ground. Looked fairly athletic, but this match is so slow. Every move is just done, like half speed. I don't get why it's done so slowly. We get a bear hug from Crush as Vince and Bobby start with the Bobby Who jokes. Who? What? Yeah. We get a belly-to-belly from Crush, and Crush then picks Bobby up for a gorilla press slam, gets the skull-crushing whole thing that he does, and gets the win. And Crush likes flicking his hair, I've noticed. We get a lot of hair flicking from Crush. We then get an All-American Wrestling promo now, as the same as the last few weeks. We get back into the arena, and Bobby and Randy Savage hype that this week's match on All-American Wrestling is going to be between Bam Bam and Bob Backlund. Vince is in the ring next, and he brings out Razor Ramon. Vince says that we couldn't believe our eyes when he was humiliated by the youngster, and asks how it felt. Razor says that the stick man, that cockroach, didn't beat him. Nobody beats the bad guy. Vince says that it was an upset, but it does prove that anything can happen in the WWF. Razor then addresses the stick man, and I do like this, calling the kid stick man. And he says that he doesn't even know his name. He offered $2,500 in cash for the kid to come down and get in the ring with him one more time. Vince goes on to mention that the King of the Ring first round match will be up against Bret Hart, and with that, out comes Bret. The crowd start another 1, 2, 3 chant. Bret now gets a microphone and says that Razor should be doing his homework for King of the Ring, and he shouldn't have the ability to get past one of the bottom guys. Bret says it's going to be 1, 2, 3 in the King of the Ring, if he can't even beat that guy. Vince goes to Razor some more as Bret leaves, and then we go to a break. When we come back, we've got Bobby watching things on TV again. When he loses signal and after some interference, we see Johnny Polo appear on the TV, and he asks Bobby not to change the channel, because here comes Adam Bomb. We then see footage of nuclear bombs going off, and out comes Adam Bomb with Johnny Polo. Vince says we saw him last week on Superstars. Well, thanks Vince, but I didn't, because I'm only watching Raw. Adam Bomb looks pretty big. Johnny Polo, not sure about him. But anyway, it's our fourth match of the night. Adam Bomb versus Phil Apollo. Adam Bomb looks big. That's my note for this one. He looks like a big dude. I can see if he's got any sort of in-ring style, I think he could do well. He backs Phil into the corner and whips him hard into the opposite corner. Get a couple of big chops and a hip toss from Adam Bomb, followed by a nice dropkick. He's looking good so far. Suplex from Adam Bomb, and Vince starts hyping duplicates on the USA Network. Just a show, I guess. Adam Bomb whips Phil into the guardrail and rolls him back inside, goes to the top rope and hits a clothesline. We get a power bomb, and that's it. Adam Bomb gets the 3 count for his debut win. Not the best power bomb, but got the job done, and I think he looked quite good on his debut here. He's one of those that, again, Adam Bomb, I saw him, he was around when I was watching at this time, or a little bit later. It's kind of cool to see his debut. After the match, Vince says that next week we will see Bam Bam versus Marty Jannetty for the Intercontinental title, and we'll be back with Bam Bam after the break. It's another of those where we're really close to the end of the show, but we're promised, an interview or something when we come back. When we do come back from the break, Vince mentions that next week, some more hyping of next week's show, it will be the Steiner Brothers in action, as well as Razor Ramon and Mr. Hughes, along with Hacksaw Jim Duggan. We see Bam Bam posing backstage as Vince says he's warming up. I'm not sure what he's warming up for. Promo, I guess. And we'll hear from him when we come back from another break. We then get the WWF Figures advert again before Vince says that Marty is a fighting champion. Not sure quite how he's a fighting champion. Like, we only won the belt last week and we haven't seen him this week. So, yeah. We go and see Bam Bam. He says that when he came to the WWF, he came ready. He came ready for all kinds of action. And Vince mentions that Luna is going to be in his corner, as well as Sherry being in Marty's corner. Bam Bam says he picked Luna for one reason, and that was to take care of Sherry. And that's it. We end the show. I would say overall, decent episode. The Doink Mr. Perfect match was quite good. The IRS Ted DiBiase match was one of the typical squash matches. The Crush match again, typical squash match. Adam Bomb, decent debut, but again, it was nothing. It was squash. A couple of decent segments. The Razor Ramon Bret Hart bit was quite good. Yeah, decent. There was nothing offensive. It was alright. Standard, what I'm sort of realising is a standard episode of Monday Night Raw from this era. Nothing really happened in ring, couple of bits to further storylines, and some squash matches. But yeah, there we go. That was the 18th episode of Monday Night Raw from 24th of May. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Wrestling Review podcast. Be sure to come back next time as we listen to another episode of Monday Night Raw. Please rate, review, follow the podcast, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram at TWRPod20.